In the installation Pho on view, you have a main video piece, which is the piece where I'm learning my cues from an acting coach to speak in a Kenyan, Canadian, and Indian accent. There's the wall text piece, which is a black wall with chalk. That is my script, my written phonetic script, written by hand, my hand, and saying my codes and cues of what I'm reciting. There's a plinth with a poster multiple, which is a takeaway for the audience to take, which is a two-sided poster. One side has my script, which I want the audience to possibly take and view and try to read it, or to maybe follow along with me. And on the other side is an image of the ocean, which is a sort of a footnote back to the book. And then the last element is a small video piece that's a loop of the ocean current coming in and hitting the beach. And that, again, is a footnote to the book Pho, written by J.M. Coetzee. The passage that I'm learning in Pho is taken from a sequel to Robinson Crusoe called Pho, written by a South African writer named Coetzee. And in the book, a woman named Susan has found herself stranded on an island, and it's the island with Robinson Crusoe and Friday. And she automatically becomes friends with the two, but she questions Crusoe about Friday, and she says, Friday is an imbecile, he's stupid, he doesn't speak to me. And she kind of, says that because he's the primitive, he's the exotic other. And because of that, Crusoe says, no, he doesn't speak to you because he doesn't have a tongue. They cut out his tongue. So I'm reciting these passages with the accents of Kenya, India, and Canada through the inflection of the sort of nuanced gestures that the coach is telling me to make these sounds, but I'm saying them in English, so the colonial language, to these places. And then saying the sentence over and over again, like that I don't have a tongue. I don't have a tongue. So I'm sort of taking on the persona of Friday in the piece. I chose those three accents because I have like an akin to those kind of cultural identities. I was born in Kenya. I'm of an Indian background, and then I grew up in Canada. So I was sort of thinking of the places that I'm from, and so trying to be more authentic to myself by, association of being able to sound like them. If I'm more authentic to myself because I sound more Kenyan, because I sound more Indian, or because I sound more Canadian. The process of becoming one person, the idea of immersion, like different experiences dictate how you become. And I always kind of think about cultural identity as something being aligned with like cultural histories and experiences. And for me, like I feel that we want to, as people, to identify, to stabilize what we are. But for me, it's something that's constantly in process, that I am Kenyan, I am Canadian, I am Indian, and that my experiences as I go through life add to my cultural makeup and who I am. So I used to live in the Caribbean for a little bit, and that kind of gave me a sense of myself as well. Those experiences, I currently, I'm based between Toronto and New York, and being based in New York has definitely given me a lot of like experience as well to sort of, think about who I am and how I develop and constantly change. I think I knew there would be a sense of humor to the piece. I always like to play with humor in my work, and in a subtle way too. Like I don't want it to be kind of like slapstick or like in-your-face kind of comedy. But I like to play humor because I'm thinking about sort of like in my work, sort of like quite heavy-handed, issues, post-colonial histories, identity. And so I like humor because it allows the audience to further engage with the work. So I might not necessarily find it funny because I'm looking quite vulnerable. I look quite pathetic sometimes in the piece, but that kind of creates a passage or entry for people to enter, but in the form of like laughter. And like when I watch it, I do kind of, I know that it's funny because this is the one part where I just can't get the he or the he's, and like that was totally just a moment of frustration, and I can read my face because I know what my face is thinking, and I look at it and I have a total like look of disgust and possibly like frustration in that work for sure. Like when we did the piece, the coach wanted me to take lessons for 8 hours for each accent. So I'm physically exhausted as well. And when she asks you to like make a certain kind of sound or gesture, it's like exercise because you're isolating muscles that you don't necessarily use. So like with the Indian accent, for example, she always says like, don't move your bottom jaw and let the tip of your tongue touch the top of your mouth. So talking this way for 8 hours is painful. So like afterwards, the residue that I didn't anticipate was that my face hurt afterwards because I was using muscles or not using muscles at times that I normally would use or not use. So it's like a physical workout afterwards, and that was a byproduct I didn't expect to happen.